We are back.
Yes.
I was listening to an episode this morning of our show. Do you ever listen to our show?
I listen to clips.
All right. Sorry. I listened to the whole episode because I like to see if we screwed up at all.
Which we do constantly.
Yeah, we screw up all the time. And Ava had made us music, and I keep forgetting to put it at the beginning of every show.
We're supposed to have like an intro?
Yeah, we're supposed to have intro music.
Well, what the hell? What does it sound like?
And it's nice. I put it on one show, and I've forgotten to put it on every other show, including the show that we talked about, Ava's new intro music.
Not braces.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Have you heard the mantra that I've taught Courtney around the clinic lately?
Give me a clue.
So, like, the day she came in and she was all sniffly.
Oh, about like the mindset of being sick?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I just said, and she said, well, how do you do it? And I said, well, as soon as I sniffle, I say, yeah, I'm not doing that.
I'm just not sick today.
I'm just not sick today.
Oh, I say that.
Yeah.
I'm just not sick.
So I've been doing that with my current, like, weight loss. And I was teaching it to Courtney today.
With your fatness?
She's like, what do you do, like, when you have to snack? And I just say, I'm not doing that today.
I'm not a snacker.
Yeah, and she goes, I hate how much that actually works. And I was like, it actually does.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like, I'm not doing that today. Have you ever tried? It seems so simple, but it actually does work.
We talked about this on the other podcast many years ago.
Yeah.
And our wives got mad at us. But like, we say things like, we are the person.
Yeah, I'm the person that doesn't snack.
do
I'm the
X.
person that whatever, yeah.
You give yourself an identity.
Yeah.
And then if you believe it, you become beholden to it.
Yeah.
And now you automatically do it instead of needing to like apply discipline.
Right.
Or some other fucking nonsense.
Yeah, my two tactics have been drink a lot of water and the mantra, like, I'm just not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's worked. I mean, every now and again.
Yeah.
I had a couple cheeses yesterday or like whatever.
Does it feel way easier?
Yeah, it feels way easier. When the mindset is right, things like that become so much easier.
Always about
Yeah.
the mindset, the hack.
Yeah.
I don't think discipline works for the vast majority of people. I think that we like social media loves to talk about like be that guy, be that like discipline guy. And it's like, okay, I think that's accessible to a very few people. I think mostly it's about figuring out the correct brain state to be in to automatically make those behaviors happen.
Yeah. It's like for each person it's different.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not.
And that's the trick.
Yeah. So and it works. So I've been doing that for years when it comes to like the illness thing. I just sort of say I'm not doing that.
You also do it when it comes to like physical pain.
Yeah, pain and like whatever.
Rest,
It's just
right?
kind of my thing. I'm just like I'm just not doing that.
Yeah.
It actually kind of works. So I'm teaching it to others.
So what about when you go into maintenance? And
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to come up with that. I am doing that. I'm gonna figure that out.
yeah, you got so
the key for maintenance is it's not freedom to just eat whatever the hell you
maintenance
want.
is
Maintenance to me has always been like, great, the Cheez-Its are coming back.
I'm done.
Yeah, like I can
go
just
after that shit
I'm gonna go
again.
eat the bad stuff, not just increasing calories like in a good way.
Yeah. So
You
then
know what I
this
mean?
time. So then what's the?
Yeah, so I just have to stick with I'm not doing that. Like I'm not doing the maintenance the way I used to. I'm gonna do it the right way.
Yeah, you do.
Increase more of
You will have to increase your calories,
increase the calories by eating the things that I'm supposed
but
to
you
eat.
still don't get to eat the other stuff.
Yeah, it's like I'm not doing that.
Because
Yeah.
you had mentioned this to me about how there is some enjoyment for you, and that there is like a philosophical argument of like, well, how much denial is actually good for me long term.
Yeah, I don't deny everything. Like I said, I had some Cheez-Its yesterday. It just happens to be the thing on my mind. I found them in the cabinet. I wasn't even looking. I went in there for something else, and I saw them, and I was like, ooh, this will be a nice little treat. And I had a few. It was fine. It wasn't a lot. But compared to my normal, it was nothing. The Cheez-Its would have led to chips, which would have led to like bread, which leads to like cheese. Like it's like
Snowballs on you.
yeah, very quickly. Yeah. So just not doing that.
Okay.
Anyway,
Good.
if anyone wants to try my mantra,
It's working for you.
you may use it. I'm not it's copyrighted.
You're down 7 pounds, 9 pounds
I am down 9 pounds.
in how many weeks?
It's been 36 days.
Okay, so that's quick.
Yeah.
That should tell you. Okay, so you got increase it by quite a bit.
Not yet.
No. But
Yeah.
when you get there, were you 207?
Am I what? I'm
You-
216 right now.
Are you 216? Oh,
I'm trying to get to 210. I was 225. How dare you?
I forgot about that.
I got to 225.
Wow, you're 10 pounds heavier.
The lowest I've been was like 200 in the last couple years.
Yeah.
Which was like
Which is a little bit
which
too-
was way too skinny
Yeah.
for me. The highest I was 275.
Shooting for 210.
I'm shooting for 210 because that feels like a healthy place
I
for
think
me
that's
to be.
correct.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get like too gaunt.
Yes, I don't want to do that.
Weak and feeble.
210 to 215, but 210 is like I just want to get to 210.
Yeah.
And then I'll fluctuate in between just based off of the day, but that's fine. Anyway,
Okay.
The mantra is,
Yeah.
I'm just not doing that.
I like it.
And people will
Apply that to your life.
apply it to
Biatch.
stuff. Yeah. Like, I'm just
Whatever
not
it
doing
is.
it. I'm sure you can go the other way. Like, I am doing that.
Yeah.
But like, just, I'm not doing that today.
This is a part of my
Not
life.
being sick. I'm not eating the snacks. I'm not doing whatever it is. The thing
And
that
then you
struggle
stop
with.
dwelling on it, and then it
Yeah.
doesn't happen to you.
Yes, you just once you say I'm not doing that, that's a good point. It kind of leaves my mind at that point
Yeah.
because I've addressed it.
Yeah.
Versus like when I'm hungry or whatever, I'm like, I'm just not doing that. Like, I'm go find something else to do, and I go and I usually do something in the house or do whatever,
Yeah.
get away from the thing. The mantra helps because it like it gets me back going in the
Makes
right
sense.
direction versus just succumbing to the
Yeah, because then you have to say no 10 times,
yeah
and on the 10th time you fail.
yeah.
So
It's a lot of no's.
yeah,
But also just drink a lot of water. That's been the key. Okay. On a similar subject, I want to talk about GLP-1. This is gonna be on like our risque.
big stuff.
Yeah, big stuff.
Okay.
We're crossing the threshold. So I want to talk about it because I think we have a decent number of people that we actually work with here, with whether it's the personal training or the health coaching, who have taken GLP-1s or are taking
taking them. Yeah.
And so for us, I think, as people who believe in sort of the nonsense that I was just spewing around, like, you can, do it, quote unquote, the old fashioned way, right? Exercise, eat well, lose weight. I think for some people, for many people, that hasn't worked. And this sort of miracle drug has come out, right? That people have discovered.
Yeah.
And it's working for a lot of people. And so I'd like to flesh out sort of as a company who works with people on this in general.
Yeah.
Where do we stand on a GLP-1? Where do you stand on GLP-1? What is a GLP-1 for the people who might be listening who don't even know? They just keep hearing it.
Yeah.
What does it actually do? What are some of the things that we advise with our clients who are taking them? Because, like I said, we do have people doing it. So I just kind of want to talk about it. And I guess maybe let's start with, well, what is it? If you could explain what is a GLP-1, what does it do? How does it help? Why do people lose weight with it? And then from there, we can talk about whether we think it's something that people should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
And some of the other ramifications that come.
Like most drugs, it was originally used for a different purpose, and it's been around for a while. It's been around as a diabetic medication.
Yeah. For blood sugar, right? Or is it like to
correct?
control-
So people who have diabetes, especially a little bit like type 2, and then we start to become insulin dependent. Part of the job of like medication is the doctors try and get the blood sugar out of your blood.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is a medication that helps to do that. It uptakes the glucose quickly so that you don't have as much of a need for the insulin.
And I think over time, I forget what it was called. Was it Ozempic? It was like one of the
Don't know what it
original-
was historically. Yeah, it might have
I think it was Ozempic, and then it kind of became Wegovy when they started using it. That was like one of the originals. I think there's others.
Yeah.
And part of the job was to control what was called like your A1C, which is like your blood.
Yeah, the amount of sugar in your blood, basically, right? And so, sugar in your blood, it can be toxic at higher levels, and so over time it can do damage to your nerves and your vessels, and so that's part of why end stage or middle to end stage diabetes can be so devastating metabolically, as you are ruining your circulatory and your nervous system. That's why like diabetics will get ulcers on their feet and not be able to heal because it just, over time your sugar has done damage, right? So get the sugar out, and then as a side effect, over time, researchers and clients who were on these GLP-1s noticed that they were not as hungry, or that they were losing weight rather.
Yeah.
They noticed, well, it seems like everybody who goes on these also loses a ton of weight. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And then so they did the research to figure out that these drugs are also having an effect on our digestive tract. It's somewhat of a digestive paralytic. The normal movement of your digestive tract, imagine like a rag like being wrung out constantly. That's how your body moves along the food from your stomach to your small intestines to your large intestines. And that process was inhibited quite a bit by these drugs.
So it's like slowing down.
It slows down the digestive process, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So like food stays way longer in your stomach, it stays way longer.
Makes
in
you
your
feel
digestive tract.
full longer.
So then therefore the mechanism is that like, well, the side effect of the mechanism is that now you don't feel as hungry because food isn't passing as quickly.
Mm.
And a big part of hunger is like, was my stomach full still?
Right.
And so if your stomach is still full, it doesn't send signals to the brain that says feed me. So then therefore you tend to just eat way less.
Yeah.
Right. And then you also had the side effects that people also like will look to as we'll go this helps with weight loss of like you get a little bit nauseous and you kind of don't want food. It's like, ooh, like Jesus, I don't want that.
Yeah, people talk about like their craving
You have
going
an
away.
aversion to it, right? Yeah, like all of a sudden like
So they're getting a caloric deficit
as a byproduct
as
of not wanting to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's kind of how they started coming into vogue, and then, you know, because it's an automatic, it's to take the pill medication, and then this effect will happen to you.
Right.
And that's where, you know, now.
And now all the different pharmaceutical companies have jumped on it.
That because obviously like weight loss is an enormous problem, like weight gain is an enormous problem, and so if they can solve that problem, then it's going to be worth trillions of dollars.
Yeah, like let's be clear, they don't really care about solving our health problems, but they do care about making trillions of dollars.
Make a lot of money.
It's a lot of money in that. But in the long run, it's great for people, you know, in the sense that, obviously being overweight comes with a lot of other health issues. And so not only are those people healthier and hopefully can avoid all those issues, but the burden that some of that can put onto our healthcare system and the cost that comes along with that. Like you mentioned, diabetes, that is one of the things that can come along with being overweight. But if we have, in general, we can have a population that is less overweight, then our healthcare system is less, impacted by the ramifications of that. So I think even though, yes, the pharmaceutical companies are going to make a lot of money, our healthcare system can actually save a lot of money by having like people who have their weight better managed.
I have a couple of thoughts on that. So being overweight doesn't cause diabetes, but it is true that people who start to develop diabetic problems are more likely to be overweight because they're eating the type of
2 diabetes.
Type 2 diabetes, because type 1 is diabetes that you get as a child, generally speaking. It's going to happen to you as outside of your own behavior.
Yeah.
Type 2 tends to be you're exposed to sugar on a daily basis at high levels for far too long. Your endocrine system starts to break down and you develop diabetes, right? So that's the short of it. And then these medications help with that. We notice some weight loss effect. And then so now kind of here we are where they're extremely popularized and many people are going on them. And I guess one more thing on that end is I would say like, I have a generally positive outlook on them in terms of like, because of what you said of the overall benefit to somebody going from very overweight to not very overweight. That's like, of all of the things we know from a long-term health perspective, is if you're very overweight, of anything that you can do, if you just are not that anymore and you can get to be of normal weight, that is the number one most important thing that you can do for your long-term health and wellness is to not be overweight anymore, right? So I like that for it. So even if it has side effects, we don't know what the long-term ramifications of these drugs are because they haven't been long enough for us to know. I think that just as a byproduct of getting people to not be so overweight is a net benefit, I think, for society at large.
Yeah,
because we are obviously in an I don't know if it's an endemic or a pandemic, but it's basically we are as a society all overweight. We're like 80% overweight, like 80% of us, right?
Right.
With no end in sight in that, the food system isn't changing and our sedentary jobs aren't going away. So because of that, we clearly as a society need help to help us lose weight.
Yeah.
And so I think that this is a good answer to that, at least for now.
Right. Is it cheating?
No. So it's interesting. I would say it's an enhancement.
Yeah.
It's a help. If you put 10 people in a room right now that are overweight, maybe 2 of those 10 are the types of people that would be willing and can implement a plan naturally through diet, exercise, and lifestyle change to get to the health that they need for their life. So I think that that's true, and so it doesn't mean that they can't become somebody else that could like actually step up to the plate and do that work, but today they aren't. And then so what's better, like not being able to to lose weight and get healthier, or take a drug and do it? I think if you're the type of person that literally can't and you need help, then I think that that's a good opportunity to get some help.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So if I'm I come in for health coach and I'm overweight, at what point would you recommend that I do it? if ever? You as like Peter, the health coach.
I think I've actually recommended it to one person. So I would say, so if I'm working with you and I'm giving you the strategies that I know work, that I think that you can handle, and for whatever reason, you're either not accountable to me or yourself or people around you, and you can't figure out how to string consistent days, weeks, and months together of like behavior that will help you lose weight and get to the goals and outcomes that you want, and it's a pattern of behavior and you continue to self-sabotage and you just can't do it even though you have the knowledge, then I think it makes sense for those people, like they've gone through a health coaching program that works for people who can execute the plan, but they are not the type that can execute the plan. Then I think for those people, then it's a reasonable thing. Okay, you've done your very best. I can attest to that, but it's still not working for you. So let's do something that will help you eat less. That will also still, like, you can still be doing the exercises. You can still be like working on your sleep routine. But for whatever reason, you can't stop eating the bullshit. Then this is a nice substitute for that.
What's like a reasonable amount of time? Like you said, like for people who have, gone through the health coaching, whatever, like if they do it like for a month and they're like, oh, this sucks, I'm not losing any weight. Is that too soon? Is it like how long? How many attempts at this? Like, because people get frustrated, right? Like, it's hard and they want to achieve the thing and they're having trouble with it.
I think I recommended it to this person after 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah. And I think
that feels to me like a fair, because you don't want to, we'll talk about it in a second, but there's some long-term effects of starting something like this, right? Or potentially some.
There's potentially ones that we don't know, but certainly short-term ones that we know.
Right. And so, I want to jump into this per se. However, people want, in today's world, we want outcomes. We want to see results, and sometimes it can be hard to get people to look past the immediate gratification and the longer term. Even like a healthy, for instance, like a healthy weight loss. Take away the GLP-1. Like we just talked about my weight loss. But in general, what do you tell people is a healthy weight loss, doing it with the exercise diet approach?
Well, I'll define healthy. I think that a healthy weight loss is something that's sustainable. So much of people who diet yo-yo and they lose a lot of weight quickly and they gain that weight back and then now they've done that for 20 years, right? So I think that happens because they do it too quick and they go all in and there's too much of this like focus on this one thing that is about deprivation. So in order to prevent a lot of that from happening and to actually have it be more lifestyle based where you're building habits that are sustainable for the rest of your life, I find for most people, it's somewhere between a half a pound and 1 pound a week. Right. So that's between 2-ish to 4-ish pounds a month on average.
Now, that person who's working with you and they're doing that and they had a month and they lost 4 pounds, they're really excited. And their best friend decided to take a GLP-1 at the beginning of that month, and they've now lost like 30 pounds or something
They've
crazy.
Lost 10.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever the number is, it's more than what that person most likely.
Oh yeah.
I could see why that would be hard, right? You'd be like, well, what the hell? Why am I working so hard and having to have all these internal fights with myself every freaking day? I gotta keep doing Gary's mantra. I'm just not doing that today.
So boring.
When this person, my friend, is just having to do whatever the thing is, I don't know, once a day or once every couple of days, I don't know how often.
Get a shot once a week.
Once a week.
And it kind of just sits in your system.
Yeah, and they're doing way better. So how do you balance those two things out with these clients? I mean, people want results and they want it pretty quick. Does that come up? Or does that come up with people?
It does. So the short-term side effects are you're most likely going to be nauseous. You're most likely going to throw up, especially like the day of or the day after you get the shot. You're not going to be able to eat a lot, and if you're not changing your pattern of foods that you eat, then you're just going to be causing yourself malnutrition, right? So most people who do to get very overweight eat a lot of bullshit, and then that food, so a lot of food that type of processed food often doesn't come with any nutrition at all. It's very small. It has protein, carbs, and sugars and stuff like that, but it doesn't have your micronutrients, it doesn't have your fibers. So then now suddenly cut that in half and you're still eating that same food. Well, now not only are you under eating, your body's gonna eat itself, you're also giving yourself way less of nutrition as well, and on top of what the little amount that you were giving yourself in the first place. So you're finding yourself in a place where you're eating bullshit, you're just eating way less of it, you're basically malnutritioning yourself, your body is losing weight too quickly, you're pulling from fat and muscle, your skin isn't going to keep up. Like, there is a lot of side effects to losing weight too quickly. And one of the worst things of all is it, by definition, is temporary. Because if you're only taking the shot and you're not making any of the other changes, you can't come off because you've made no other habitual changes to then come off.
Right.
You come off, you just go back to normal, you're going to gain the weight back. So you must also make the changes. I guess the argument would be, well, I'd like to do it faster. Well, slow is permanent. And if you want this to be permanent, which I make this clear to people who I work with, you really should only work with me if you're interested in creating a lifestyle change that will last with you forever. I'm not interested in helping you lose 20 pounds so you can fit in a bikini.
Right.
But if you want this to be long term, you really shouldn't unless you have to. And then we can still work through it. And it's hard because now you get used to then having the fullness and the nausea tell you not to eat, not the habits that you've built. Mm-hmm. So it still is harder to transition people off of those medications into a long-term lifestyle without being dependent upon them.
So then what do you do? Like, so a person comes to you, let's say that they've made the decision, they're going to go on, right? And you've agreed with this as like so then it's not like we just kick them out at that point. Oh, like you failed our program, get out of here. We still work with people through this, and we work
6 people.
Yeah, and we want to continue to help them and guide them because it's important, I think. And I would probably recommend to most people that if you are going to do this, right, the doctors they're going to give you the thing, and then you might see them every couple of months or whatever it is, right? You're not
giving you any guidance.
You're not going to be seeing them on a regular basis. They're not going to give you a ton of guidance, right? They'll put you on it if you qualify. If you don't, sometimes you're just getting it, you're paying for it yourself, and you're getting it through other sources.
They'll give you the 5-minute speech on what you should do.
Correct.
But then it's up to you to figure it out.
So it would make sense. I would encourage people that if you are thinking this or you're already doing it, that you should involve some sort of health coach, nutritionist, or something, right? Somebody that can help guide you, that's knowledgeable.
If you don't have the skills and knowledge to be able to implement this yourself, then you should go.
Right. And that doesn't come from ChatGPT. I mean, some of it can.
My advice?
No, like they're them getting their own skills and knowledge. Like, you can't believe everything that like is being spit out. So seeing somebody, my point is, I think it's good for people to work with somebody like you or like a health coach in their area that can guide them along the way. So what do you do exactly? So the person has made a decision. They're starting today. Like, I'm thing in today.
Yeah.
I'm going on this. What is the plan for this person as it pertains to what are you still working with them on? What does the health coaching then look like? Where does the strength and conditioning come into this?
Yeah.
What is this? What does the program look like for the person who's on a GLP? Is it any different than what we're doing with everybody else? They're just now supplementing with this thing,
So I would say the program largely looks the same, except for the fact that like it's even more important that they have a really good solid strength training program and that they're getting enough protein and then they're getting enough sleep. Like, these things are even more important, and the reason why those things are important is that if you're losing weight too quickly, which you will on the GLP-1, your body will prioritize more of that weight loss from muscle than otherwise it would have. You don't want to lose muscle. So our job as a health coach is to help you lose as little muscle as possible. So then you must be on a good strength training program to help stimulate the body to build the muscle and keep it. You must eat enough protein to help that process take place, the building blocks of building your muscle back after you train.
That can be hard. Like, if you're not hungry.
It's very hard.
Because
it's extremely
it's hard.
challenging.
It's hard for people to get enough protein as it is.
It's extremely challenging.
I weigh 216 pounds. I probably need 180 grams of protein or something, ideally 170.
Yeah, like 180 to 250.
If I'm not hungry,
you're not eating shit, especially protein.
That's going to be hard to get.
Protein tends to be satiating.
Yeah.
Especially like animal protein. So
it is a good example of like people maybe that could really benefit from the supplementation of protein.
Definitely.
Because they're going to have trouble because they're not hungry.
Definitely.
They're going to have trouble getting there.
You need something that's highly palatable that also digests reasonably quickly. And so unfortunately, whole food tends to be the opposite of that. And so it's almost the opposite advice, especially for women, because women tend to be smaller than men, which means they don't get to eat as much, which means if you are literally barely able to choke down 800 calories a day, which is for sure too little, then good luck getting enough protein. So for people like that, I almost always recommend that they have at least one protein shake a day that is mostly just protein, just for the sake of you're not getting enough. So please supplement with this easily drinkable thing. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult. So it's So it's like you gotta try and eat enough, and it's tough if you're really nauseous. Sometimes people are way more nauseous than others. Get enough of that protein, get enough sleep, because when you train and then give yourself the building blocks, the sleep will then cause the repair to take place. And again, it's all about muscle sparing. Is one of the biggest side effects of losing that muscle. We don't want to have that happen, and you must still continue to weight bear because you can like shed your bones as well. Yeah. So we don't want to lose bone density, don't want to lose muscle mass. You do want to lose body fat, and as a byproduct, you lose weight, but only if you're not doing the other things wrong as well.
So do you set a goal with the people then? You say, okay, like Gary, you're 216 pounds. Your goal is, let's just make up a fake goal for me. Let's say it was 175, right? And you're like, okay, we're going to do the GLP-1 until we get to whatever number. Maybe it's the 175, maybe it's somewhere in between. Along the way, we're building these sustainable habits around doing this the right way in general. You're going to continue to exercise, you're going to eat whole foods, you're going to do all the things that you normally advise. And then we're going to get you off of this? Like, is that the conversation at the time, like in the beginning? The goal is to get you off.
Yes, for sure.
Let's get you to this number. What percent of that number are we trying to get to? And then how do we get off? How do you wean off? Because I think some people think it's a forever thing. Like if you start,
that's how doctors frame it too.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, to be totally honest with you, I kind of somewhat believe that for people too, in the sense that like if they never figure out how to titrate off of it and not be on it someday, and then work on building the habits of listening to your own body signals that's not on that drug, you won't be able to. Because if you're used to not eating because you're not hungry versus like I'm off of it, now I'm getting all these hunger cues and I'm still saying no, or I'm still making these choices instead, you don't get to get off of it without gaining weight. So it's very challenging. Yeah. It's very hard. Yeah, and having this, so that I think that's the biggest detriment, is saying like, am I the person that wants to be on this forever? I don't know the long-term side effects. I should definitely not try to be on this until it's clear as day that I will not be able to, because I've tried everything else. Like I will not, like I have to go on, or else I'm just going to be stuck in this position I don't want to be. That's kind of where I want people to get to before they decide, because I think it is a very, very important decision, and it is very difficult to transition out.
What's the best version of this that you've seen so far? Like using your own experience. I know we've only had, I think you probably only had
I've transitioned 2 people off of it. And
so what was the, give us like, you know, obviously without, you know, saying too much, but what did this person start? How much did they lose? What did the process look like while they were on it? You know, what were they doing? And then how, why was the decision made to come off? And then how have they done since?
So the decision was made to come off from the very beginning. It was always like, okay, so this is what the plan is going to be. You're going to get to this goal weight at this goal body composition. Before we're gliding into what we call maintenance, the stabilization of your weight, we're going to start talking to our doctor about coming off. You don't just go cold turkey. Doctors often want you to taper off for a very long period of time, which makes sense.
Yep.
Because you don't want to go from I have no appetite to I'm extremely hungry again, right? So it's a nice slow taper. They're reducing the dose until you're finally off, almost like a drug addict, you know, would do sometimes, right? Or like a cigarette smoking maybe. Yeah. Which makes sense to me. And yeah, so I mean, this person is in maintenance right now, and they're still working through it. And the hard part about maintenance is, as you know, is now you all of a sudden have this long-term goal of health for life, as opposed to like, I'm going to get to a certain weight. In behavior, it's tied to a short-term goal, is much more sustainable to continue to do, because you have that in your horizon, whereas the horizon of your life is harder to make those decisions consistently in the moment. So I totally understand. And so
did that person lose a lot of muscle? You did their body comp along the way.
She did not. She did a great job.
She trained the whole time. Yeah.
She actually gained that muscle over the course of time.
That's impressive. It's not easy to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the total weight loss, did you say?
So I believe it was something like 40 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, so it's a good amount of weight
over the course of time,
and maintained muscle, and then was able to transition off. And
so part of what happens with people that do this, though, is that like, not, you know, most people who find themselves in a place where they have a sedentary job in life and are 40 to 50 pounds overweight also aren't regularly strength training, right? So those people have the benefit of, when they start a strength training program and a weight loss program at the same time, that their body has a lot of reserves. Like they have a lot, they have a large ability to gain a lot of muscle mass in the first couple of like years, right?
Cheaters.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
That's why I stopped training for a while. I wanted to make some gains.
Yeah, you wanted to be a beginner again?
Yeah, I was trying to get myself all the way back to like beginner level.
So crazy.
I want the most gains.
So if this person did not train, she 100% would have lost a ton of muscle mass. She would have looked and felt
40 pounds is a lot. Most
very
of that, a lot
different.
of that would have come from muscle.
She probably would have stripped 10 to 15 pounds of muscle off of her, and being down to 150 would have looked and felt so dramatically different than what it does today that it's hard to even describe how much different. And you've heard the stories like, oh, they have Wegovy face, or they have like their skin is sagging, they have like no butt anymore, like the skin is sagging off. It's because you've lost a lot of muscle. So do a thought experiment. This is like super normal. Like if that person would have gone through like a year of losing weight, they lost 40 pounds, but they didn't exercise and they just took the medication, they might have still lost 40 pounds, but let's pretend that they lost 15 pounds of muscle, which is totally like reasonable to happen. Well, then that means you've only lost 25 pounds of fat, 15 pounds of muscle. So now you've really only had a very small body composition change. You're kind of skinny fat still. Like you still have a lot of fat on you comparatively, right? Whereas this person, she gained like 6 pounds of muscle mass. She lost 40 pounds of body fat. So therefore she lost 46 total pounds, improved 46 total pounds of body composition.
Right.
As opposed to the other one, dramatically different at the same exact weight.
Yeah.
That's the fascinating part about it that people understand is if they don't do the work, they don't get to like
and the
have
way
the
that
same
person
outcome.
looks in the end is
Vastly
totally different.
Oh, it's not even the same person.
You kind of lose your shape if you don't do the muscle
You
part.
become like
because there's nothing to like give.
A body made of jelly.
Right. There's not like
weird.
a skin. The skin is like kind of molds around the muscle, and so if the muscle is disappearing,
if the muscle is disappearing and it's soft and flat, then it just looks like a curtain draped over like an ever diminishing amount of muscle.
Yeah.
Whereas on the opposite, if you've gained muscle and you've hardened all the muscle tissue and you've gotten stronger that you currently have, your skin sits so differently on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a vastly different person.
Yeah. That's a good story. I think it's good for people to hear like that this is possible. I think it's, it's hard for a lot of people to think that they can actually gain muscle while on it. So I think giving a case study like that is really helpful. And
yeah, you have to have the right training program.
Yeah. And I think it's just something, I think when it first probably came out, we probably all were a little skeptical, right? Like like I said, I asked you the question of, is it cheating? I think a lot of people thought that, or were, judgmental of it.
Advantage,
or
PED,
or people,
enhancing drug.
people like yourself who believe or like to believe that most people can do it the other way. Yeah. Probably a little bit like, but at some point, it enters your universe and you have to deal with it. And I think we've certainly explored that over the last year or two and probably changed our perspectives a little on it and are open to, obviously, we want to help you through the process. We want to help you be part of that journey. There's a right way to do this. We're learning that there's a right way to do it. It can be super helpful for a lot of people, and we support that if it can help you get there and make you a healthier overall person.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing the things that you just mentioned, which is, it's not just about losing the weight. It's about changing a lifestyle, doing something that's sustainable for a long, long time. So you don't have to keep taking the medicine because we don't know the long term. It hasn't been around long enough for us to study long-term effects. But ideally, you don't want to take medication anyway.
Forever.
And you want to create a lifestyle that is just generally healthy. If you're taking a GLP-1 and you're eating Doritos all day long until you're, but you're still losing weight because you just can't eat that many Doritos, but that's the only thing you're eating.
Yeah. You're definitely doing it wrong.
Yeah, that's doing it wrong, and congratulations, you lost weight, but you're either going to be on it forever, you're still not healthy, your body is not getting what it needs. You mentioned the micronutrients, or even in this case, the macronutrients, and, just a lot of other systems aren't going to do well. So the weight loss is a small piece of this.
It's a small piece.
It's an important piece. Yes. It's a piece of it, but you have to do it right. You have to eat well, sleep well, continue to strength train.
Yeah, it's a tool in the toolbox that's helpful for people who can't lose the weight otherwise, but I would not recommend it being the default at all.
So great. I'm glad we had this conversation because this is just my way of telling you I want to go on a GLP-1.
Oh yeah, because you can't do it.
So when can I start? When can I start? I feel like I should be allowed. You just said I could. I mean, I
Well,
got you.
unfortunately for you, you've lost some weight
I
recently.
know I did. I lost 9 pounds. I should have failed.
Because you're that person
Yeah.
that does not do other
I
things.
just don't do that
That's
anymore. I just don't eat. That's what I told myself. When the food comes, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. We'll see. Hopefully, it can be sustainable
It will be
for me. But
this time. You got it this time.
well, thank you for sharing your insights on that. I think it's important. I think it's a topic a lot of people. It's in their world. I don't know if they know a lot about it. They're probably curious about it. So I think this can be like really helpful.
I agree.
So, all right.
All right, thanks, buddy.
We'll see you.